I will keep my promises. Now, another promise, let me try again.
Order.
That's who they really are. They voted against tax relief for the working class. And the Liberals want to jack up taxes on the 15th. Do Democrats believe the working class needs permanent relief? So will the Prime Minister permanently exempt the GST off of daily essentials, essentials like a kid's winter jacket?
We're actually moving forward to suspend the sales tax for Canadians so that they can afford the basic necessities that they will need, whether it's fresh-made produce and...
Friday's session in the House of Commons was anything but ordinary. Chaos erupted as NDP leader Jagmeet Singh tried to present a motion addressing Canada's affordability crisis, only to be interrupted repeatedly by Conservative MPs. Shouts of "point of order" echoed through the chamber, turning what was supposed to be a debate into a spectacle. The motion, which aimed to expand GST breaks and rebates for struggling Canadians, should have been a moment for serious discussion. Instead, it became a battleground for partisan games. Singh's passionate speech was met with relentless interruptions, procedural delays, and even personal attacks, with one MP branding the NDP leader as a sellout. So, what exactly happened in Parliament that day? Was it a legitimate debate? Or did the Conservatives cross the line into political sabotage? And how did Singh and the NDP respond to these ruthless tactics? This incident is just the latest example of the gridlock and drama that have plagued Parliament in recent months. While Canadians face skyrocketing costs of living, their elected leaders seem more focused on scoring political points than offering real solutions. In this video, we'll break down the fiery debate, the motivations behind the Conservatives' actions, and what this all means for Canada's political future. Stick around as we unpack one of the most heated moments in Canadian politics this year. And don't forget to let us know who you think came out on top in the comments below. What led to the showdown? To understand Friday's chaos, we need to look at the context that led to it. The NDP's motion was intended to address the growing affordability crisis facing millions of Canadians. It proposed expanding the upcoming GST break to cover essential items like home heating, prepared grocery foods, and cell phone and internet bills. The motion also called for changes to the government's $250 working Canadians rebate, demanding it be extended to include fully retired seniors, people with disabilities, and others who didn't meet the current income criteria. While the motion seemed well-intentioned, its chances of passing were slim from the start. The NDP doesn't have the numbers to push such a proposal through, especially with the Liberals and Conservatives often at odds over affordability policies. But the motion's true purpose wasn't just to legislate, it was to make a statement and position the NDP as champions of working-class Canadians. Meanwhile, tensions in Parliament had been simmering for weeks. The Conservatives were already engaged in a lengthy filibuster over Liberal transparency issues, while procedural gridlock had stalled much of the government's agenda. Just a day earlier, the NDP had delayed a Conservative motion by forcing a debate on abortion, sparking outrage among Tory MPs. By the time Friday rolled around, the stage was set for retaliation. What should have been a serious discussion on affordability turned into an all-out political brawl, with the Conservatives determined to block Singh's motion at every turn. The parliamentary showdown? The chaos began almost immediately after Jagmeet Singh rose to present his motion. The Conservatives, clearly prepared for a fight, unleashed a barrage of procedural maneuvers designed to disrupt the debate. Conservative Deputy Leader Melissa Lantsman kicked things off by raising a point of privilege about a protest earlier in the week, accusing the NDP of supporting activists who blocked MPs from their offices. This move consumed a significant chunk of the debate time, setting the tone for what would follow. As Singh attempted to regain the floor, the interruptions intensified. Conservative MPs raised repeated points of order, challenging everything from the admissibility of the motion to Singh's right to present it, Some even mocked the NDP's credibility as an opposition party, suggesting they were too cozy with the Liberals to bring forward a genuine motion. At one point, the heckling became so loud that the speaker had to intervene multiple times to restore order. Despite the noise, Singh pressed on, highlighting the struggles Canadians face. He spoke about families forced to choose between heating their homes and putting food on the table, seniors struggling to afford basic necessities, and young people giving up on the dream of owning a home. His speech was passionate, and he directly challenged both the Liberals and Conservatives for failing to address these pressing issues. But the Conservatives weren't done. They used parliamentary rules as a weapon, continuously delaying the proceedings. One MP even cited a standing order that opposition motions could only be brought by parties genuinely in opposition to the government, a thinly veiled jab at the NDP's support for the Liberal minority government in confidence votes. The interruptions reached their peak when Singh, visibly frustrated, tried to push forward despite the constant objections. His attempts to focus on policy were drowned out by the din of procedural arguments and heckling. The spectacle turned what could have been a serious debate into a farcical display of partisan tactics. By the time the session ended, Singh's motion had barely been debated, leaving many Canadians wondering what, if anything, Parliament was achieving. The Conservatives had succeeded in stalling the discussion, but at the cost of turning the House of Commons into a circus. The question remained, was this a legitimate political strategy, or had the Conservatives gone too far in their bid to undermine Singh? Singh's speech and the Conservative retorts? Amid the interruptions, Singh managed to deliver parts of his speech, hammering home the NDP's message of affordability and fairness. He painted a vivid picture of the struggles faced by everyday Canadians, from rising grocery bills to skyrocketing energy costs. Singh argued that his motion was about providing real relief to people who needed it the most, calling on the government to prioritize ordinary Canadians over corporate profits. But Singh's impassioned plea didn't go unchallenged. The Conservatives hit back with accusations of hypocrisy. They argued that the NDP had no credibility to criticize the Liberals on affordability when they had propped up Trudeau's government at every critical juncture. Some MPs mockingly called Singh a sellout and labeled his party as part of the government rather than a true opposition force. One Conservative MP took it further, describing the NDP's motion as performative politics, accusing Singh of grandstanding without offering practical solutions. They argued that the motion was a desperate attempt to win public sympathy while sidestepping the reality that it had no chance of passing. The interruptions didn't just disrupt Singh's speech, they undermined the seriousness of the issue at hand. Instead of engaging in a substantive debate on affordability, the discussion devolved into personal attacks and political theater. While Singh tried to refocus the conversation on policy, the Conservatives' tactics kept dragging it back to partisan bickering. For Canadians watching, Singh's frustration was palpable. His attempts to champion the concerns of struggling families were repeatedly drowned out by procedural wrangling. Yet, for all the drama, the Conservatives successfully framed the NDP as ineffective and inconsistent, an image they were keen to amplify as the session continued. The broader political drama? Friday's theatrics weren't just about a single motion. They were part of a larger political chess game playing out in Parliament. For the Conservatives, delaying the NDP's motion wasn't merely retaliation for Thursday's events. It was an opportunity to further a strategic narrative. By framing the NDP as ineffective and too close to the Liberals, the Conservatives aimed to discredit Jagmeet Singh and undermine his party's position as a voice for working Canadians. The Conservatives' tactics also served to shift attention away from their own vulnerabilities. With their focus on procedural disruptions, They avoided direct scrutiny of their policies or lack thereof on affordability and climate action. Their interruptions painted the NDP as hypocrites who supported the government on key votes, but postured as an opposition force when it suited them. This narrative aligned with their broader effort to present themselves as the only credible alternative to the Liberal government. For the NDP, the situation was complicated. On one hand, Singh's speech highlighted genuine concerns about affordability and inequality. On the other, the Conservatives' attacks exposed a weakness: the party's ongoing support for the Liberal minority government. The NDP has justified this support as a way to secure concessions, such as dental care and housing initiatives. However, their critics argue that this arrangement has undermined their ability to hold the government accountable. Meanwhile, the Liberals largely stayed on the sidelines during Friday's drama, a calculated move that allowed them to avoid direct confrontation. By letting the opposition parties fight among themselves, the Liberals maintained their image as the steady hand in an increasingly polarized parliament. For them, the chaos only reinforced the perception that the opposition lacked cohesion and a united vision for Canada. In the end, Friday's spectacle was less about solving problems and more about reinforcing partisan divides. It was a snapshot of a parliament that often seems more focused on political gamesmanship than on delivering meaningful change. Fallout and public reaction? The aftermath of Friday's session left Canadians with mixed emotions. For many, the dramatic interruptions and heated exchanges were disheartening, a reminder of how disconnected Parliament can feel from the daily struggles of ordinary citizens. The affordability crisis is a pressing issue, yet the session provided little in the way of concrete solutions. Public opinion on the NDP's motion was split. Some Canadians viewed it as a necessary spotlight on affordability issues, while others dismissed it as symbolic and ineffective. The Conservatives' tactics drew both applause and criticism, praised as a clever parliamentary maneuver by their supporters and condemned as obstructionist by their detractors. For Canadians watching at home, the spectacle was a stark reminder of the challenges facing Parliament. With partisan bickering taking center stage, the session did little to inspire confidence in the ability of political leaders to work together on behalf of the people they serve. Friday's session in the House of Commons showcased the best and worst of Canadian politics. On one hand, Jagmeet Singh's passionate speech underscored the struggles many Canadians face daily. On the other, the relentless interruptions and partisan games highlighted a parliament increasingly defined by dysfunction. Canadians deserve real solutions to affordability and economic challenges, not endless political theater. Was Friday's chaos justified debate or petty sabotage? And does it help or hurt Canadians in the long run? Let us know what you think in the comments. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on Canadian politics and beyond.